What's good, everybody? Cardfight King here. Got a deck profile for you on my updated Tetra Drive deck. Before I get into it, I just want to say thank you for everybody who responded on Facebook. I posted in various groups of how you guys like deck profiles to be done, and I got some great responses, and I believe the way that I've been doing it was fine. I just needed, take a little survey, second check. I believe that explaining cards is very necessary in deck profiles because it's better to, when you watch a deck profile, like even me, I hate when I watch a deck profile and I leave it with more questions of why do you run this card, how does it work for you, how does it work with the other units in your deck. You know, I hate when I leave stuff like that. And in my videos, I definitely try to explain why I run these cards so you guys can leave the video with some understandings and interest in, you know, my build, so to speak. And so if you guys don't want to listen to the video because it might be a little bit long, I'll put the deck list in the description. And, you know, if you guys still have questions, go ahead, take a listen to the video. You know, hopefully I explain it and clarify any questions that you have. And if you still have questions, please definitely send me a PM or leave any comments in the section below. But let me get on with the deck profile, and I hope you guys can learn and understand my point of view of how I ran with my Aquaforce deck that I did get top 8 with at my locals on Monday. Much needed improvement from my 1 and 3 start. Okay, so I got Erik as my starter. He is he's probably the best starter that we have right now for non-Blue Storm decks. Obviously, when Marios comes out, great. I have 6 crit and 6 draw. Now, the reason why I have 6 crit, 6 draw is because I believe that the Aquaforce needs that extra draw power in order to get to their units, in order to fill up the field faster, and especially for this deck, since it's Tetra Drive, the Break Ride combo is like one of your game-winning plays, and being able to draw into your units and have them ready for that is very essential. Plus, you're going to be taking damage early on because the deck isn't too strong against the rush. I found out playing the clan for a long time, it's not too strong against the rush. So the 6 draw will help alleviate that, because when you take damage, rather than having, you know, like these two be extra crits, you have 2 extra draws, so you're more likely to damage check your draw triggers, adding a 5k defense to your Vanguard while also putting a card in your hand, and ultimately, you know, slowing down your opponent's rush. So that's the reason why I generally run 6 draw, 6 crit. And this Malika, you can push her into the soul and give +3 to any Aquaforce unit. I believe she is very, very key to the deck, and she actually helped me get out of great stuck, believe it or not. And the 6 crit, this guy is he's like a really good late game trigger when you need to unflip an extra damage for Tetra Drive's ability, because I don't like using him till late in the game. If I use him too early, then that's a 10k shield I could have used to block. So I wait till late in the game when I'm going for like an in-game push, and I'll push him into Soul to unflip that last counterblast so I can get Tetra Drive's effect off for a 3rd time. On average, you usually get Tetra Drive off twice, but he allows it for a 3rd time and a 4th time, depending on how many times you've healed necessarily, or how many times you actually push them into the Soul. So that's gonna be a grade 0 line. I'm gonna get on with the grade 1s. Alright guys, and for the grade 1 lineup, I run 1 Light Signals Penguin Soldier. I used him to actually get out of being gray stuck. I was gray stuck at 1 in game 3 versus a Dayusha player, and what happened was I pushed Malika into the soul to give +3 to a unit I had on the rear guard, and then I used Erik's skill to search a grade 3. Then I called him out behind my Vanguard, soul blasted 2, and I drew into a grade 2. And I did ultimately win that game. So being able to have him help me in that situation really helped, and I should be keeping him at 1 in the deck. I usually play 1 of him in every deck, and the only reason why I'm playing 1 is because I'm running 9 grade 3s as opposed to 8, and I'll get into that explanation a little bit later. I have 4 perfect guards. I believe in this meta and on, you need 4 perfect guards for something that has perfect defense, because anything that can completely nullify your opponent's attack, I think is very, very vital to your deck, and it's kind of like somewhat of like a backbone. It's like, well, you need to be able to protect yourself. So anything that I can do to protect myself, I'll definitely do in this deck, and that's why I run 4. I run 4 Mercenary Brave Shooter. Brave Shooter is our pseudo 10k attacker. He's not that great. He's a defense 7k booster, but I prefer him over Theo because early game, I'm able to put off somewhat of a rush, and he can also make 16K plus columns without like an 8K booster. Without like instead of two 8K grade ones, I can have a 10K and a 7K, and I can have him be the 10K hitter and like him be the 7K, or him be a 6K if the struggle's real, and make columns. So that's the only reason why I run him for early game rushes and to make columns, plus a decent 7K booster. And I run 4 Wheel Assault. Wheel Assault is a really good card. Came in very clutch against an Angel Feather player I played. I was able to put a trigger on, I had a column of grade 3s. I put a trigger on the grade 3 that hasn't attacked yet. Use him as a desperation move. Switched the column up and swung for 16 and extra crit. And I ultimately got the game. But just from, he is a great card, but I want you to know that his uses are very limited in Tetra Drive at least. Because in this deck, you compete for Counter Blast. You want to use Tetra Drive. You want to get off, your main combo, your best move in the deck. But he can help allow that, but he also does cost a Counter Blast. And so I don't recommend him using him until late in the game when you are pushing for game. I feel as if he's better as a final push in Tetra Drive. Or if you're stuck on Transcore and you need to get pressure on him, go ahead and use Tidal Assault. There's no problem with that. But for me, I recommend using him when you're on Tetra Drive and you need that extra push. But if not, again, always find a way to win the game. If he wins the game for you early on with Transcore, then definitely do it. Okay, let's get on to the grade 2. Okay, guys, and for my grade 2 lineup, I have 4 Tidal Assault. He's one of the best cards in the deck, in Aquaforce in general. When you attack the Vanguard, you can restand again at -5 power and swing again. So he's our grade 2 Benedict. If you put a trigger on him, you can hit confirm one hit, restand, and then hit confirm another one. So I really feel as if he's necessary in the deck. And opponents who know how to play against Aquaforce would definitely try and snipe this card out. But he is very key to the deck, especially unlocking the 4th attack. Okay. I run 1 Titan of the Beam Rifle. He is our 11K attacker if you have a Vanguard with a limit break ability. And so I feel as if he was necessary in the deck because I was running Valeria. I didn't run Valeria. I was running Carlos, the damage on flipper, and he wasn't too reliable. And on the rearguard circle, sometimes I don't even have boosters. So, I'd rather have something that will swing for 11K and hit an 11K Vanguard than something for swinging for just 9K. And, I can't hit anything if they don't have like a 9K or less rearguard. And in this deck, I wanted to force out some guard in their hand and some numbers. So he helps me hit better numbers, and I like him as a 1 tech. Obviously, riding him is a bad thing, but it's whatever. I run 4 10K vanillas. 10K, they're just solid cards. I run 4 in every Aquaforce deck I've played. He's too good. He's a great rear guard and a great Vanguard. And so there's nothing that I can actually you can actually say about 10K vanillas. Yeah, he doesn't have any special skills, but being able to, if you hit a trigger, put it on him, he'll be 15K defense. You could throw down a 10K shield, especially if you go up against like a Mobius Breath or something. Throw a 10K shield down because they're usually swinging for 14 and it's a no pass. So I really like him at 4. And then the MVP of the day was Basil. Basil came in handy because I was able to get off early rushes like a column of him and him or him and him even, and being able to get the early rush, and then he swing. So what he does is when he attacks a Vanguard, gains 2K, so he hits for 10, and then switches with the card behind him. So he has a way of not only protecting himself but also poking at your opponent. Obviously, when your opponent has an 11K Vanguard, it doesn't hit. But the point of Basil is sometimes you don't need him to hit. You just need him to swipe, get out of there, and get you that attack number. And he can come in really handy, especially because I've seen decks where they just rely on Tidal Assault and Wheel Assault to get their 4th attack, and I don't think that, to me, that's not as consistent because with Tidal Assault, he's going to be attracting a lot, and Narakamis are going to definitely snipe him out, with what they do. So, he's not always going to be on the field, and he's a high pressure unit. So, since he's going to be off the field, why not have something that protects itself in the back row? And also, you can make a 15k column with him. You can swing with him first, boost with 7k, make a 17k row. I mean, he has a lot of uses in the deck, and great poker, even at rear guard. So I really like him, and I'm going to be definitely getting more of him. So that's a grade 2 lineup. I'm going to get into the grade 3. Alright guys, and for my grade 3 lineup, I run 4 Transcore. Blue Flight Dragon Transcore. What he does is when you break run on top of him, your Vanguard gets 10k, and the ability of when your Vanguard attacks, your opponent has to discard a card. If they choose not to, then your Vanguard gets an extra critical, and your opponent cannot block them for the rest of that battle. That's very good in conjunction with this card, Tetra Dragon. I think he's one of the best break rides in the game. I think he's my favorite in the game, actually. And Tetra Dragon, what he does is on the second battle, after the second battle, he gains this effect. As long as you don't heal on 4 damage back down to 3, he'll get the ability of, on the 4th battle after your rear guard attacks a Vanguard, you can restand this card, counterblast 2, drop 2, and swing again. But he has to attack for the 5th. He has to be the 5th battle, and your rear guard does have to attack the Vanguard on the 4th battle. But he's really good because in conjunction with this, provides probably the best break ride combo in the game outside of the Dudley Emperor and Bad End Dragger that nobody wants to deal with. But it forces out probably at a minimum 6 cards out of your opponent's hand. Obviously, if you do it early and they do hit triggers on their way to damaging and you're not hitting anything, it's going to maybe be a little bit less. But still, forcing your opponent to drop cards out so they don't take an extra crit is just beautiful, and it does what Aqua Force is supposed to do: force cards out the opponent's hand. And this is my 9th grade 3. I run 1 copy of Diamantes. Some people say that, oh, he's a 9k, if you ride him is bad. Well, if you ride him, and that is unfortunate, but you deal with it. And I only run 1 copy, so I don't see him all too often. But the reason why I run him is because sometimes Basil, as good as he is, he doesn't hit, and I can easily just replace Basil with him, so I can swing and hit 11k Vanguards, and then again, he's a Storm Rider, so he'll swing for 11k on the first battle, and then switch with the unit behind him. So again, he has a self-protection method, so I'm able to continually annoy my opponent by poking at his 11k Vanguard, forcing out a shield or taking a damage, or burning forcing him to burn an intercept, and then switching him to the back row. So that's why I run him at 1 copy. It makes Erik a little bit more accurate, and overall he's just a really good card. He comes in clutch, especially late in the game when you're pressuring your opponent on 5 damage. They don't want to deal with a poke attack, and if you see your opponent dropping a 10k shield just to block his poke attack, then you've got them backed up into a pretty good corner. Okay, so that's going to be the deck profile for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like, comment, and definitely subscribe for more content. I want to bring as much good Aqua Force content. I'm a huge water player. I love Aqua Force to death, and so I have a Maelstrom deck that I'm ready to make a profile of. So I'm definitely going to put that out next. But please let me know what you guys think about the deck. If there's any changes you might make, let me know. And always leave a comment, PM me. I'm always free to talk to. This has been the Card Fight King, and I'm out. Peace.